Okay, so today we're going to talk about the Bitcoin bubble, how to, is it in a bubble, first of all, what's going to happen? I think that it is very likely in a bubble for sure. In fact, take a look at this. So here's a chart that shows bubbles that have occurred in the US. So S&P 500 today, S&P 500 very well may be in a bubble. I mean, our whole economy could be in a bubble. That's the reality. But S&P 500 could be in a bubble. Great Depression, there, down here, it goes all the way up to tech bubble of the 2000s. Look, this is a tech bubble way down here. Mississippi bubble, whatever that. Tulip mania, largest bubble known in history. Look how much it skyrocketed and came back down. Here's Bitcoin. And Bitcoin's going up even higher. So obviously people are looking at this and there's news stories. In fact, this is on Market Watch here. And they're claiming, hey, Bitcoin's in this bubble and it's going to crash. And of course, tulips went back to zero. They have no real value. And people like to say the same thing about Bitcoin. But Bitcoin may or may not be in a bubble. And I can explain to you why it may not be in a bubble. But first, understand this first of all. Let's cover why it may be in a bubble. It's going up so high so fast. I mean, it's currently at 16,000 per Bitcoin. If you pull this chart up, just look at year to date. That's all you have to do. Look at, this is the year. This is 12 months. So it was at $900 per Bitcoin way back on January 1st. And today it's at 16,442. So what's that? Almost 1,600% it's went up. By the way, Bitcoin has just barely hit just under what 20,000 over here per Bitcoin. So it's skyrocketed. However, therefore, I do believe it's possible, and I've said on my channel many times, it's going to pull back. And my investment strategy is designed to protect me in the event of a pullback. And if Bitcoin drops all the way back down to 80%, if it loses 80% of its value, which this asset class has done that. If it does it again, that's okay with me. I don't know that that's going to happen though, and the reason I don't know that's going to happen is because there's so much money coming into Bitcoin. You've got the CBOE futures out already. CME is creating opening up their futures market for Bitcoin. You've also got the Australia exchange and the UK exchange all opening up futures contracts where people can buy and sell futures contracts around Bitcoin. In order for people to buy and sell futures, it requires them to have access to the Bitcoin. So just the additional liquidity in the market overall is probably going to support the price. But with that being said, Bitcoin has a real use case. And the use case is a store of value. It's also a use case for transfer as a currency on larger amounts. Right now, the fees to use Bitcoin are quite high just because of the network congestion. Eventually, there's something called Lightning Network down the road. It's going to improve that. We won't have to deal with that forever, essentially. But right now, technology, it's not easy to use Bitcoin for something cheap that's, a couple $100 or less. Because the fees on it, I looked earlier, it's like for $200 to transfer Bitcoin, the fees on that's like $54 or something ridiculous. So obviously you're not going to use it. You're not going to transfer just $200 just because. Those fees go up and down. I can do a whole video on how to avoid fees and how to minimize your fees, but all you can do is minimize them. They are what they are for now. Because of the sheer liquidity, I don't think the market's going to like crash to zero or nothing like that. I don't even know if it's going to crash to 5,000 or below. The whole world now knows about Bitcoin. So you just have to make certain that when a lot of people are doing ridiculous things, they're taking out loans and all this stuff to buy Bitcoin. That's ridiculous. Don't do that. Several things you want to do. First of all, you want to only invest money you can afford to lose. By the way, this isn't investment advice. This is just my opinions on what I do. Don't invest money that you can afford to lose, first of all. Second of all, make certain that when you're investing in Bitcoin that you have a strategy and you understand that the market can pull back by 50% and maybe more. I like to diversify at least into passive assets like Bitconnect passive Bitcoin projects, things that can kick off cash in a down market. I don't like the idea of buying Bitcoin today, and if it drops by $100 tomorrow, I lose. If it drops by $1,000, I lose. So when you buy into um, assets like Bitconnect, when you buy into assets like Genesis Mining, and they each have their own risk, by the way, the cash flow that is provided does help prevent some of the up and down that can come in the market. It's not going to always be straight up. Start learning about the market, research the market as much as you can, diversify in the space, but don't put like your retirement into Bitcoin or cryptocurrency, any cryptocurrencies for that matter. This is still a highly speculative space. It's highly, highly speculative. Will it continue this run up? I don't think that's likely. I don't think that's likely. Is it going to pop and go to zero? I don't think that's likely either. But here's what's probably going to happen at some point. There's probably going to be a big pullback by 30%, 40%, maybe 50%, maybe more. It's going to hurt a lot of people. A lot of people are going to lose a ton of money if that happens. And I don't think it's if, I think it's just going to happen at some point. I'm not trying to spread fear. It's just, I mean, when you see this chart, this can't keep going up, up, up. Before long, it'll surpass the entire world's global money supply, within a year. That's not going to happen. I do think Bitcoin has a potential to take over the world's money supply one day. But with that being said, that's not going to happen within a year. That's not going to happen right away. It's not going to happen at this pace right here. There's a lot of excitement. A lot of people are finding out about this technology for the first time. That's why this is going up so fast. But just know this. There may be a pullback at some point. Just be okay with it. Invest a few hundred a month, $50 a month, $10 a month, a few thousand a month, whatever you can afford to lose, whatever you are willing to put into speculative investment. Diversify. Know that it's going to go up and down. Don't sell for the sake of selling. People love to take profits. I don't recommend just selling for the sake of selling. Make a decision whether you're here long term, and if you are going to sell at some point, tell yourself you're going to sell ahead of time. In other words, trade with a plan ahead of time. Overall, I think this is amazing for this space. It's just a sheer number of people. I mean, Bitcoin is now mainstream as far as people everywhere. I have people asking me about it all the time. I mean, there's so many people, all your mainstream news outlets, financial organizations are writing about it and talking about it. It's a big deal. People try to love it, they try to hate it. It doesn't matter. They can love it or hate it. And if the market pulls back by 50% or more, they're going to say, I told you so. The reality is, long term, this technology is incredible. It's here to stay. Now, I've got some more videos I'm going to be doing. I just had an interesting question from a subscriber, and she literally asked me, she just sent me a message. And to some people, they would think this question is crazy. I kind of like the question. I want to discuss it. She said, do you think Bitcoin is going to be the mark of the beast? And the reason I like this question is because I know exactly what she meant when she asked that. And I'm going to cover it in another video. I'm also going to do an entire video where I'm going to go into more depth in some of my investment strategies. I'm going to do a series on investing in Bitconnect and how I do it and how I minimize my risk and how I personally use Bitconnect. And I'm also going to cover several strategies that other people are doing that I've heard about and I've read about. So I'm going to do a series on different types of ways and strategies to be able to invest in Bitconnect. So if you want to find out if Bitcoin is the mark of the beast, then make sure you subscribe to my channel. Click that little bell notification icon so you'll get a heads up as soon as I make that video, which will probably be tomorrow. If you want to get notified when I put out my Bitconnect strategies, then go ahead and hit that subscribe as well. Also, I'm going to do an entire series on cloud mining as well. So that's coming up. That's kind of, the next, several days to a couple of weeks. That's what I'm going to be covering on this channel. And I'll do a video here and there as there's major news that's popping up. So make sure you subscribe to my channel. Hit that thumbs up. If you have any questions, feel free to put a comment down below. My videos are going to come from comments. So if you have questions, comment below. Just like this young lady asked this question about Bitcoin being the mark of the beast, then I will cover that in another video. And if you have a question, put it down in the comments, and I'll try to address that in another video as well, in a different video. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day.